Welcome Carlene Berger, Bill Price, and Kay Adams to Parties Extra. I'm Helen Ford Wallace, and we are in the Oklahoman's downtown studio to talk about Town Hall. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for coming in, you all.
Thank you.
Town Hall is in the 86th year, is that right?
Correct.
And you're the president this year.
And it's going to be an exciting year. And lots of fun and lots of good speakers. Do you want me to go ahead and...
Yes, you just tell all about them.
Well, we start off with Dr. Keith Smith, and he is, the first time I heard his name, I was watching one of the business channels. My husband has that on constantly. And they talked about Dr. Smith, a doctor from Oklahoma City, and my ears went up. And he was an anesthesiologist, and he started in 2009, fixed price that he put on the internet for surgery. Fast forward, all these people from Canada, England, the uninsured, the people that the price of the surgery was less than their deductible, all flocked to Dr. Smith, and he became this expert. Fast forward, he's been on all these national TV shows. He's been in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and he started the Free Market Medical Association, which is national, and he's just an amazing guy because everybody else was wringing their hands, what can we do, what can we do? And he did what was good for his patients and what was good for him, and subsequently all these people from around the world come to Oklahoma.
That is amazing, and he's your very first speaker.
Correct, and that is September 20th.
September 20th, and what time?
It is at 10:30, and we have the speaker from 10:30 to 11:30, and then we go in for a question and answer for lunch. People don't necessarily have to stay for lunch, but a lot of times if they're really wanting to ask questions and ask specific things, that's the time to do it.
Well, Carlene, you all have many people that come. I mean, this is not just 20 people listening to a speaker. It is how many?
Well, it varies from year to year, to speaker, and we've had 1,000 people come, and it just depends on the speaker and the time of year and what else is going on in Oklahoma City. But it's really neat because you think, oh, I've heard this person on television. Well, if you hear them for an hour and they can talk about things in a way that you can understand it, they can explain all the nuances of it, and after you can ask questions if you are want some particular information.
And where do they go?
We used to be at St. Luke's, but we are excited because we are now going to be at Church of the Servant, which is on MacArthur, and it's across from Gloria Country Club, and the parking lot, the facility is fabulous. You can park right next to the building and go in, and it's all on one level. There's not a bunch of stairs, and it's just a wonderful, welcoming facility.
That is great. Well, so that's speaker number one. What about number two?
Okay, Jimmy Wayne. I don't know a lot about country and western music, but I heard Jimmy talk, and he is a very famous country and western singer. But he's written this book that was a New York Times bestseller. It says Walk to Beautiful, and he was a foster child, and he's told his story, and it's not really a downer. It's a very positive message, and I don't know if he co-wrote it with someone, but it's a beautiful, beautifully written story, and obviously New York Times bestseller. It obviously we're not the only ones that think that, but he's been on the Grand Ole Opry 215 times. He has many Sarah's Smile, that's one of his favorite songs, and Stay Gone and Paper Angels, and I could go on and on and on, but those that follow the country and western music genre will recognize his name right off the bat.
So is he going to sing?
He probably will sing one song.
That's it. Well, you know, we'll be glad to hear it. We will. Okay, so number three, and the third one, and that's the fall session. Is that correct?
It's November the 15th, and we're really excited. Dr. Patrick Moore started Greenpeace. He was one of the co-founders. He's from Canada, and he has his PhD. He's very well educated. He became disillusioned with the trajectory that Greenpeace was taking, so he dropped out of that, and he's called the sensible environmentalist because he wants to be a good steward of the world. But and I'm going to quote because I'm going to quote him. He said, he believes that too much of today's pop environmentalism is filled with sensationalism, misinformation, and fear. And you know, if he's one of these people that is so full of wisdom, and he can see what this policy does and what this policy does, and he takes his academic training and says, okay, this is why this policy does not work. It does not achieve what the environmentalists think it's going to.
We all need to know that.
So anybody
that's
and this is something you need to bring your children and grandchildren, because they're all taught to be concerned about the earth. We all should be concerned about the earth, but Dr. Moore is definitely sensible about his approach to stuff.
Isn't that the best? We need a lot of those people, you all. Okay, so just give us a brief rundown on the spring.
Okay, Nancy Miller is from Oklahoma City. She went to Christ the King School. She went to Bishop McGinnis. She went to OU. And she went to California. Fast forward, she has written Saving Grace in Nashville. She's co-written CIS Miami.
And she's your good friend.
She is. She is. She is definitely lives around the corner from me, and just a fabulous treasure. And she's very humble about it. But if you look at her credits, they are this long, and when all the things that she's written and everything like that. And her story is fascinating. Because when she went to California, she knew no one in the business, and to become so successful, she has a great story.
Good. They all do.
And Meredith is March the 21st, Maui, and she is an Antique Roadshow contributor. And the other day I was watching Antique Roadshow, and up pops Meredith doing an appraisal, and she has just the Antique Roadshow component of it's really fascinating. But the other thing, she worked on Doris Duke's appraisals for her estate, and she worked for Christie's. And she has a great knowledge of the high-end Worth art business and things like that. And if somebody wants to learn about auctions and stuff like that, this would be a perfect time to come. And the last is Shelley Finley, and it's April the 18th. And she is from Dover, Oklahoma. She went to School of Science and Math in Oklahoma City, and specifically she is, her official title is the director of the Geocarb Science Mission. But the long and short of it, she talks so eloquently. She's been at Antarctica, and she was in charge of a Greenland mission, and she's a great teacher, and she has an asteroid named after her, and it's and she's young and awesome. She's so funny. You think it's so dry, and she's one of the funniest speakers, and she's such a good speaker. I don't have a scientific background, but you understand what she's talking about, and she makes it funny and relatable.
These are all great speakers. Where's Dover, Oklahoma?
It's on the other side of Norman, I think.
Oh,
northwestern Oklahoma, near Kingfisher.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
Every single one of those sound like they're that people would just really want to hear them. So good job on getting that crew together. So do they pay to come? Do people pay?
There is a cost, and the cheapest way to do it is to buy a season pass, and it's $90 for the lecture series, and for the luncheon it's $120, and the complete package is $210. Now, you don't have to come to all the luncheons, you don't have to come to all the speakers, but it's cost effective if you do that instead of individual tickets are $30.
So, and there's 6 speakers. That's a good package deal. I think it's great. And I guess 1,000 people think that. I mean, that is just amazing. So who are the sponsors for this?
The sponsors this year are Bank First, the Chickasaw Nation, Quail Creek Bank, Laura Lynn's Home Care, and Smith and Kernke Funeral Homes.
So that's great too. And then you as Vice President, or President-elect probably, are planning already for next year.
Yes, that would be in 2019, the fall, and the spring of 2020. And we try to gauge what kind of issues and what kind of speakers will be of interest then. So we don't want to do it too soon, but don't want to do it too late either. And we try to gauge it in, there's different types of issues that we've had in the past. National speakers on everything from terrorism to the Middle East to China to healthcare to the stock market to politics to the Supreme Court. It's been an eclectic mix. Plus, interesting things like we're having this year about science, about writers in different areas. And we've had in the past too, people that have become cabinet secretaries like Ben Carson and National Security Advisor John Bolton. So we've had a lot of great national speakers.
Alan West,
and Alan West we had, former congressman. And what we try to do is gauge the issues that are really important to people. Go on things like YouTube or see how good of speakers they are, and survey the members and the friends that we have to try to find out who are the great speakers that they've seen at some national conference.
And Bill Price, you could be a speaker.
Well,
you'd be great.
I think they've heard me enough that I wouldn't be that much of a draw. But to try to get the best speakers possible, and we have 6 speakers a year, and if people want to join, they need to go to okctownhall.com and to join up this year as soon as possible.
Is there a number to call or anything like that?
Yes.
Phone number?
202-446-4262.
Okay.
202-4262.
So the website, tell it again?
Yes, is okctownhall.com.
Okay. And then the phone number. That's great. Okay, so you usually entertain your speaker when they come into town with a dinner with your board of directors. So tell us about that. Okay, tell us.
Well, it's a good way to welcome someone who's never been to Oklahoma, or even local people. The board and the spouses like to have a one-on-one contact with the speaker, make them feel very welcome. And during the dinner and a little bit after that, we are able to ask questions to the speaker. But we've had a real good response. The dinners are big and they're a lot of fun, and we hear really good results from them.
How did Town Hall start?
It started in 1933. The Junior League of Oklahoma City was looking for a way to enrich the cultural environment here. And so they had a board of directors that got together. There were 20 people, and this thing was so popular they turned it back over to the community, and we're still going today.
And we had Mex Frady's involved.
Yes, she was involved. She was very proud of Town Hall.
Well, I imagine
she
could have been a speaker too.
She could have been.
You all, we have, well, all of you all actually get up there and talk.
Sometimes we've had a maximum crowd. These are huge venues. I mean, Church's Servant is a huge venue, but we've had sometimes with speakers 1,300 people there. So these are huge venues. Plus we have DVDs or audio tapes oftentimes of the speakers we have. So it's a great way to, and there's a student membership that is like $15 for for a lecture, and we'd like to get that out more and more so young people can get more and more knowledgeable about all these different types of issues.
That is, that's excellent. So we don't have to join, we have to just pay our money. Is that how you do it? Okay. And they can come to individual events.
Correct.
And that makes it easy too, because sometimes you can't come to all of them.
But it's a lot more expensive to come to individual events
than it is to
come for the whole package. So we're certainly encouraged to do the whole package.
Who fixes the lunch? Is it a box lunch or a?
We are really lucky because the Church of the Servant has a food service that we've all taste tested some of their food, and it's great. So it's fixed on site, and it's delicious food and well worth the money.
Great. And so after you've had your speaker, but you can't ask questions then. It's better to come after. For the lunch, and then you can ask these questions, burning questions that people have.
And the deal is they write their questions out, and then they hand it to the speaker, so the speaker can kind of go through and figure out, how to. He does that while he's eating lunch and stuff like that. And some of the questions have been just jaw-dropping. Explosive and stuff like that, and it's just like it's worth every penny of it just for that person to answer that one specific thing. Like John Bolton had, I forget what somebody asked him, but we were all like, oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. And then
it was something we probably didn't know. You didn't know at all.
Well, and it was really exciting. 2 months later, he was appointed by Trump. So how cool is that?
Isn't that amazing? Okay, well, anything else about this year?
Well, we want everybody to come to our new venue, and there is something for everybody. And as I said, please bring the high school kids and the grade school kids, because there's lots of things for them to learn from these speakers. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about Town Hall.
Oh, Town Hall.
Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Helen.
You're so welcome. Well, anything else you all want to say?
Visit okctownhall.com.
Okay. And next year?
Yes, we'll have a similar array of speakers with a whole variety of different topics that will be fascinating to our audience.
Well, it sounds like it's very fascinating, 1,300 people. Yeah. So thanks Carlene, Bill, and Kay for keeping us up with Town Hall. It's a great program, plus you have all these experts to tell us about these topics. Great job. We hope everyone loves your new location. And thanks for taking your time to come in and keep us informed. Thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you.